others. So. All right, well, everybody, happy, what is it, Tuesday now? I'm in a time warp. Tuesday, so happy Tuesday. I'm Nick Slavic. I'm proprietor of the Nick Slavic Painting and Restoration Company. I'm also the host of this show, Ask a Painter Live. It's a weekly live Facebook show where I use my over 2 decades of experience as a craftsman and an entrepreneur to answer any of your questions that you have. Now, for homeowners, particularly today, I usually say this is the biggest forum for homeowners to ask any of the basic paint questions they've ever wanted to know. What brush, what primer, whatever. We are in a room full of very seasoned craftspeople. So any questions you guys want to ask, we're here. For professionals, you know what we're here for. Marketing, entrepreneurship, apprenticeship, hiring, whatever you want to do. So today I am in New York. What's the specific town that we're in? Elmsford, New York. We're at Rennie's Restaurant. And this is a dual chapter meeting. We're combining a few chapters of the PDCA tonight. People from all over the place. We got some Pennsylvania, Northeast PA. Anybody come from farther than that? Yeah. So there's people from all over the place here. So the PDCA has sent us a contractor question of the week. Thank you to the PDCA, the Painting and Decorating Contractors in America, for underwriting this. The PDCA is the largest group of professional paint contractors in the world, and this is everything that's ever happened good in my business has happened after I made contact with the PDCA. So there was the BC time and the AD time. The BC time was everything I ever did before, and the AD time was I made contact, and then good stuff happened. So the PDCA gave me a question this week asking, how's everybody dealing with the labor crisis? Is it affecting your business, and how are we overcoming it? Because the market is good. Universally, we can't find enough people, and the people we do, we have to struggle to train. So, raise of hands. Labor crisis affecting your business. You can take on more people right now to grab more business. Universal. So, what are we doing to overcome it? Who's got some solutions? What are we doing on a local level to find people, get them trained, and get them active?
We're always constantly hiring. We have ads out all year long. We're always looking out to onboard people, even though we might not be as busy during the winter time. But at least we're getting those names in. Yep. So when the winter time comes, we know who to reach out to. A lot of the people are looking for immediate positions. However, we do tell them, hey, we do have work right now. It's winding down, but you can count that, at the beginning of the springtime, we're going to be reaching out. So people are, happier if you hire them on the spot.
Yeah.
But they're still happy to know that, you're going to reach out, soon enough. So,
yep.
We're hiring all year long.
Very nice. So that seems to be a theme when I have the benefit of talking to contractors from kind of all over the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. And the theme seems to be right now, we don't have a perfect solution for this, but we're not going to stop hiring until we do, because that seems to be the first step into doing this. So similar with the companies, always sort of looking, catfishing around, looking for people, things like that. I know I found myself in that too, where with the high attrition that we experience in our industry, it seems like at the end of the year, if you can keep 2/3 of your people that you hire on that year, it seems to be a good thing. That seems to be a winning formula. So who else has had some luck? Where are we finding these people? Are we finding them on websites? Are we doing referrals? Are we finding them through your own people? What's been working?
I actually had a very interesting situation arise just this week. I was hiring out to have someone come in and help me with office admin and marketing as an internship position. So I hired out to this guy. His name is Joe. He's 25 years old. He has an associate's in business, and he's finishing a bachelor's in marketing. And so I'm sitting down and I'm onboarding him on the business end and the marketing end. And he actually became more interested to come on and run a crew for the pressure washing division of the business because he saw a more excelled rate of income with that than the business portion.
Oh, interesting. So he could look at it objectively and say, I don't mind the hands-on stuff. I see a path to something through there.
He saw that he could make more money coming on hands-on, learn the simple system for the pressure washing portion of the business, and make more money then pursuing his 4-year degree.
What did his parents say?
Yeah.
He's living with them. They were excited.
Probably just excited that they got out and got a job too. Yeah. Yeah.
So that blew my mind because
Yeah.
I was so excited to have someone on board to help me with some of the admin stuff and marketing, which for the day that he was doing that was helpful because I could bounce ideas off him. But at the end of the day, he was like, I think I could do better going this path than on the business end.
Yeah, so it's been interesting in my local market. Like I said before, if you believe all the statistics, there's probably only 200 people who call themselves painters looking for painting work. And if you can't find those people, you find yourself in a problem. So the last bunch of people that I've hired, like I mentioned, they've all been unfulfilled in their other careers. So I think the key is getting away from that ad that says lift 50 pounds, driver's license, must show up on time, be dependable. That doesn't appeal to any of those people. So I think we need to do something different as an industry to actually appeal to those people. So again, lots of baby boomers. They're sort of exiting the labor market right now. They call it the silver tsunami. It'll be exiting soon. The Xers are still here, but they're small in numbers. And now we have these millennials to deal with. And there's a lot of misperceptions about millennials, me being one of them. Biologically, we haven't changed that much in one generation. So every generation looks upon the next generation and says, this is the one that's going to implode this planet and ruin our society, and magically we're all still here. We find a way to make it work. So it's interesting. Who else is finding some success finding new workers? Are we finding experienced painters? If we are, where are we finding them? Are we
kind of like the leftovers if he lays off a little bit. And you know what? And I'm glad you do so, because you know why? Because if you don't have somebody that you employment, bring them to me. I'm a small outfit. I can use them.
Yeah.
And the fact that it already comes with a resume and I already know the person,
Yeah.
it's a set system, which is great.
Yeah.
So I mean, as a smaller entrepreneur, it kind of benefits me that you big guys are starting to kind of narrow down for the season, because you might actually help us out.
Sure.
And that's why I'm part of this, because
Yep.
you guys have been helping hands with me, helping me grow mine. Guess what? Help me with the work as well.
Oh, so you're looking for employees here.
Don't tell nobody.
Listen,
There's a lot of trading.
my guys
going
are
on
safe.
in
We're
this
half a
group.
country away. I feel for you guys, though. He's actively looking, so. Yes, sir.
I mostly do advertising for hiring when the season is very low and there are some painters out.
Yep.
They are looking for, there's sometimes painters that they look for more money.
Yes. Yep.
And I challenge them pretty well, because I go deep to see what they know, what they don't know.
Yes.
And if they work for that, I can hire it, but it depends. So I'm trying to put 4 or 5 times a year the ad.
Yep.
And then I have a very strong interview with them. And then from there I can sort them to see if it's a good match for my company or not.
Absolutely.
At the same time, can be not the best company, I mean the best match. Why?
Yep.
Because if they're looking for money, they can ruin my crew.
The culture of the company.
The culture of the company. I can realize in 2-3 days that they do something else, and then I have to get ready of it. So there's a challenge right there. But I've been successful even this year hiring a few good guys. Of course, good guys mean starting with them, showing them exactly what the way you do.
Yep.
Not trusting them to do everything, especially in an expensive home, but starting with them, showing them, look, this is the way I have expectation you to do.
What I'm always curious about is, it seems like universally everybody I talk to is, I get an experienced painter and I got to unlearn everything he did. Where are all these painting companies teaching people these things that we have to unlearn? Because it seems universal. Like, isn't one painting company teaching guys the right way? I mean, it seems like, why can't you just find that guy and then put him in your company? But it's just an interesting data point. But I've never heard anybody say, found a guy, perfect, good culture. He not only knows my systems, he's a little bit better than my systems. I've never heard that.
But the answer is that they become, first of all, by their own,
Yep.
number one, and they're going to become, if not to a higher level, working for somebody, and they're going to find their place over there, and they don't want to go nowhere else because they paid enough there. So we all of us willing to pay somebody if it's there, because the point we're getting older, like me, so I'd rather pay somebody more than take care of the 2-3 guys. And
Yeah, exactly. So I have a couple data points for you guys too in my experience. So like I mentioned before, I have no access to experienced painters, and when I do magically come into contact with an experienced painter, it's a disaster. I have hired one person who calls himself a painter, and I deemed him a success. He was one of my best craftspeople, and it's probably not a coincidence that he came from a PDCA member in Chicago. So this guy from Chicago, who I look up to greatly, said, hey, by the way, my #1 guy is moving to Minnesota. He's following his soon-to-be wife. Would you at least call him? Because he's a guy who followed me on social media, and at least I might be a good home for him. Make some contact. Made some contact, hired him. One of the best guys I've ever hired. He's been the only experienced painter I've ever hired who was like, we're good here. You know, interesting though, that it came from another one of us, you know?
Let me be interested too. Has everyone ever hired someone here that they were like impressed with?
Painting-wise or culture-wise?
Both, or individually, and then to have both of them in one. That's just a question.
I think it depends on what you look specific from that guy.
Yeah.
For example, I have a different criteria when I put them to work. I'm interested when I find out that cutting near the crown molding, for example, is a talent. You can learn it, but I found out it's a talent. I found out that they're not painters, but in a week they can cut it so precise that you cannot believe it. I found also I have a painter for 20 years. He is doing a bad cutting near the dark. So I'm gonna invest in that guy. Put it that right. And I know that he has a talent, and now from now on I'm gonna put him in a different angle. I'm gonna work with him. And I invest in him. So I think there are there, and everyone is good somewhere in the company. So if it is good somewhere, I'm gonna make it good there wherever he likes it.
Tailor
He
a
can make
position
money.
just for him,
Yeah, and I can make him to be professional. He loves what he's doing, and that's what I'm doing.
Well, you're also going to
So
take his weakness and his strong points.
Yeah.
So realistically, you're going to find, okay, we're going to go into a job. You're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing that. It's a well-oiled machine. That's what you can do with a lot of guys. Because not everybody can skim coat a wall, not everybody can tape very well. But a guy can also paint well and roll well. Maybe a guy is only good at just taping. So you got to kind of find the right position in everybody's strong points and weaknesses. So I got a guy that came on and says he's a painter for 20 years. Guess what? No, he's not. He actually painted 1 or 2 rooms throughout 20 years, so he's a painter.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what happened? This guy actually, he showed up. This guy showed up. The other 2 that were painters didn't. So this guy came up, showed up, put so much effort into this. I can see him shaking when he's holding the brush, saying, nice, thank you, I appreciate being here. So you know what? He's still with me. And the fact is that I got him doing other things, like the bull work, like on decks and stuff like that. That guy's an animal. So you know what? It's finding the weakness and the strong points in people.
That's true.
If you want to keep them employed, to keep your business going the way I would.
You see, in Europe, when I was trained back in '75, their painters, they divided. The painter who painted windows and doors was a different trade. The painter who painted ceiling and walls was a different trade. Because we did decorative painting on that time. And never knew how to paint, and they mixed the paint only when we do the doors and windows. So on my apprenticeship, I had to learn both of them. Now when I came here, even now, in my team I have guys, there are 2 guys, they do only 3. I have one just retired, he's for 25 years, did only windows and doors, whatever he did. He never feel a crack for me. But I'm telling you, that guy was so professional in doing windows and doors, everybody loved him. When I go in a house, he still already start windows and doors, prepping them, and they didn't work. The other guy knew, he just focused on the ceiling and walls and down. So I put 2 guys on there, and everybody doing his job and done.
So you highly specialize in your company.
Highly specialized. And I find out that works. But you have to have the field, you have to have where to put them. And guess what? After a while, he loves it.
Yeah, definitely.
After a while, he loves it.
Oh, if you get any union guys here. The union guys, that's how they're trained here. They're brushmen or they're rollers or they're prep guys. Most of the guys there are the sprayers. Most of the guys in the union aren't fully rounded.
They're not generalists.
They're not general. They're very specific. I mean, I'm a culture guy. You got to have a certain attitude, and you have to show up a certain way, and you have to be willing to learn. And
Would
my
be
guy-
nice, right?
Well, I mean, my crew is with me. The guy who's with me the longest is going on 27 years, and the guy who's with me the shortest is going on 5.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't really have
So
to go.
you got the way to keep them. What do you think is, if you could distill it down to one thing to tell another painting contractor, how do you keep your people that long?
I treat them with respect.
Yeah, say that.
Yeah, I treat my guy. My guys are really loyal. You know, I've had other people come to my guys and go, you know, do you want a job? They'll come to me and tell me
Yeah.
that, you know, I was on the job over there.
And this
and
guy's
this guy,
asking to poach your
Listen, I get approached all the time. I was just up on a job. We were doing for another contractor, and we were doing the wallpaper. And the guy told my guys, you know, that he used to do the paper, but the boss wanted to pay him per hour, the same hourly rate to hang wallpaper. And he's like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot more responsibility. I mean, my guy who does paper makes way more money.
It's way more of a craft than wall painting. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
So, yes, sir.
I think one of the most important things that we can do as entrepreneurs is to let our own people know that they're respected and they're appreciated.
Yep.
And you do that through a lot of little things during the course of a week, so that your guys don't need to go looking around for other jobs. Number one, and number two, they will become your best source of new hires because they'll say, you know, Joe Jones is a great guy to work for, and you know, come on over. So I think your best source of finding new people is your own people. But again, you got to make sure your people are happy and you develop the team that you want it to be, and that you let them know they're appreciated. Whether you take them out for lunch on a Friday, or you buy them a beer at the end of the week, or you buy them a donut, you know, whatever you do for them, you know, it's not a lot of money out of your own pocket, but it says a very important thing is that you are appreciated.
But universally, and how it hits the ground between lunches or attaboys or something, but I think what I found the biggest return in my business is constant contact. Just stay involved with it, because as business owners, what we would like to do is have purely passive income from a painting company, but it's not ever going to happen. We need to stay engaged, and I've found over the course of the summer, I've devoted my life to building culture in my business, because now I have all these people, and if they all leave me, I start over. I want to keep them forever, so now the objective is I just have to get there and make sure I keep these people forever. So the more contact I make with people, the more connection I feel with them, and in turn, I feel a little more secure that they're going to stay with me.
And you build loyalty.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
what.
To kind of piggyback on what you're saying, and something I heard from Nick this evening already, was the point of communicating your vision to your employees. Because once they understand and they buy in, they tend to stick with you for the long run. If they are just coming in just to paint a wall, you know, get paid day by day to roll and brush, they might wake up tomorrow and be like, hey, what am I doing here? Once you communicate your vision, what you have envisioned to your company, your 3-year vision, 5-year vision, people tend to stay, understand, hey, that there's going to be room to grow. And I think communicating, being clear about your vision to your entire organization is really key to the process.
I agree, and being clear about that vision and letting them know that there might be a role for them in it, especially with millennials, they want to be something, they want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They don't want to go to the postal sorting facility and put in their 32 and a half years and then retire. They want to have a clear separation between what they do at work and what they do in their free time. They want to do something during the day because they have to facilitate their off hours time. But they're not just wasting away their hours. They want to do something productive and interesting during the day, but then at 4 o'clock they want it to be done so it can fund their other times. But they don't want to just waste away that. So that's been a big sort of change in our business where, you know, the way that my father's generation would run a business is we want experienced painters, we get them on, and we don't talk to them for 20 years. They just produce. They're always there. They're all. I'm not a people person. I don't want to deal with this. We're going to have to change now. We have to keep these people engaged because they're flighty. They're going to go find the next more interesting thing. If a drywaller makes his job more interesting than mine, they're going to go drywall. They don't care what they do, most of them. They just want to be appreciated and they want a fun job. So I think as an industry, and not just us, but as trades, we're going to have to retool and now all of a sudden be personable and take an interest in people. And it's sort of like not what we're good at most of the time. So
well, and I think we talk about it here is our own interest in our own community, because you're going to impart that to your employees too. You're saying, hey, you know, this month or whatever, we're going to dedicate our time or donate our time to go do a project X, Y, and Z, whether it's Habitat for Humanity or painting somebody's home or whatever. So, you know, you're bringing the community focus into your employees as well as...
It's connecting them to something bigger than themselves, which they, I mean, there's a definite need with millennials to be connected to something bigger than just a company that doesn't really feel like you have an impact or anybody knows about you. So interesting. You had your hand up, sir?
Yeah, I also find that being involved with their families.
Oh, yes.
Knowing their wives. I've had a couple of guys where we had, like, where I had an issue, where it was some back and forth, a long-time employee. Yeah, and I finally had to say, you know, you got to go. I can't deal with it. 3 days later, there was a knock at my door, and the wife was literally pulling her husband in by the ear and said, "You apologize now." And she said, you know, I don't know what, and I explained what happened, and she smacked him and said, "You get yourself together. This is where you need to be, because when you go to other places, all you do is come home and complain. And you know, you've been with Lewis for so long, you really need to get it together." So, you know, knowing family, knowing kids, going to their football games, going to, you know, baptisms and communions. I love doing that. When my guys invite me, I always go. And I mean, this is the time of year. Halloween, my neighborhood is a closed neighborhood. There's over 300 units. And there's really not a lot of streets through there. So everyone comes to the neighborhood because it's easy to bring the kids. So my guys would come with their kids, with their wives. And the wives would get to sit down in my house, and I would make coffee and hot apple cider and sit down and talk with them. And while the husbands were out with the kids, spending quality time with their kids, trick-or-treating. And it became a family thing, and so they all go over and they all come to my house every Halloween, and we have sort of a, you know, like a gathering at my house. And I'm fluent in Spanish, so, you know, even though a lot of my employees don't speak a lot of English, or especially their wives or whatever, they're able to come and I'm able to sit and talk with them and make them feel home. So, you know, when they get that feeling of home, it becomes a big deal for them, because they like feeling like they're part of something bigger.
Absolutely. Also, Ray, John Busick says hi. Looking good, by the way. So, John Busick, an awesome contractor from out west. We got Dustin Zapancic, Dan Ross watching from out west too. Everybody loves Dan Ross. We all know Dan Ross from the PDCA. Dustin Zapancic watching in Vancouver right here. Who else? We got a whole bunch of people from my hometown. Brian Cumming, Benjamin Moore guy there. Let's see who else we got going here. A couple of my apprentices. All right, there we go. So, not that many questions coming in. Lots of people chiming in about their watching. Any last sort of final thoughts? Any general questions?
Oh, wait.
Primer questions, brush questions?
You're gonna send it to enough people out there.
If my apprentices are watching, do not listen to this guy. You are staying in Minnesota. You will not come to New York.
Trust me, we have great lunches.
The food is good. People are pretty nice. So.
Pizza's good.
So, all right. Is there any last final thoughts? Anybody? We got most of the world connected to us in a small way. Anything else the group wants to share? Any final thoughts, questions before we wrap it up and we all call it a night? Oh, that's awesome. You guys are awesome for having me here today. I got 2 more states to go. I will be in New York tomorrow, and then I will be in Vermont Thursday. And I hear it's beautiful up there. It's beautiful everywhere that I've been right now. So no complaints. You guys are awesome to have me. Ray, particularly, thank you for lining all this stuff up. Ray's been an ally of mine since the start. He's one of the first guys who introduced me. Introduced himself when he came to the PDCA. He has a Czech wife, and I speak a little bit of Czech. So immediately we bonded over that, even though he's a guy from Iran. Very interesting connections we all make in the PDCA. So It's been awesome, guys. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be
Thank
here.
you.
And that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching. The kindest thing you can do for this show is to share it with other like-minded contractors, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.